What's going on, everyone, and welcome to Movie Emporium. It's me review of LX 2048, the newest film from director Moshe. Before we begin, hey, if you like my channel, cool, hit that subscribe button to join Movie Emporium, hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming next, and if you like any of these videos, cool, hit that like button, as well as commenting below on any video that you watch, including this one. So, I'm a big fan of sci-fi movies. I'm a big fan of the big question, where are we going? What is going to happen with Earth? What is going to happen with technology? What is going to happen to us in general? And it's a fun question to kind of theorize. We see robots being created, AI is, getting closer and closer to the reality that we don't want. It's the whole kind of idea behind where are we going and how are we getting there. And in this movie, LX 2048, we have a character played by James D'Arcy who plays Adam Bird. And Adam Bird is one of these individuals that is the old school version of us. He wants to live in the real world. He wants to drive a normal car. He is a guy who just found out that he's dying, that his heart is going bad, and so he wants to find a way to basically support his family by keeping his company viable, becoming more rich. And in the process, there is something called Program 3, which is, it would say somebody in your family dies, your spouse dies or whatever, they can actually clone your spouse and make them either better or what you remember. And so this movie is relying on the fact that we have, the James D'Arcy Adam Bird character and his wife, who's played by Anna Brewster, who plays Rena Bird. And there is friction there. We see some of their past. We see some of the current situation. Basically, Adam did something that really kind of set her off, and she is basically wanting a divorce, but he wants to stay with his wife and so on and so forth. And that Program 3, as well as Chip and stuff like that, Chip is a program in this world that will allow memories and whatnot in a virtual society. And this is basically his story about him kind of just dealing with the situation at hand, dealing with the fact that his wife doesn't really love him. He's starting to kind of slowly fall apart based off his, ideas and stuff like that. He goes to a therapist who is a clone, so nothing feels real. And what makes this movie kind of fascinating, even though the movie is a little goofy in a lot of places, is the world that this place lives in. The idea of global warming, the idea of a toxic sun, the idea of virtual realm, which is VR in this world, is very close to a possibility. We look at our phones all the time. The movie's making statements about how sometimes we just have to look up and see the reality. It's about, the nature of technology and how it pushes itself forward, how it's going to get to the point where we are going to be compatible or simpatico with the entire thing of technology and AI. James D'Arcy's character is kind of fantasizing over this woman in VR, and it affects his relationship. And I find that fascinating. I find the idea that they're using a Black Mirror, because this is a very Black Mirror-esque type movie, to deal with these scenarios, to deal with the situation. And it makes it for a very uncomfortable movie to watch, but makes it for a almost like be careful what you wish for type of scenario, because we have the technology to do wondrous things. We are getting to a point where, we almost don't need normal reality anymore, even though we kind of do, to make things work. But let's say it's 2048. Let's say it's 3048. How is that world going to look any different? How's that world going to look different compared to what we know now? And that's why this movie is kind of interesting in its ideas and its, what it's like promoting and what it's trying to kind of get out there in the open as kind of a warning sign. And I do find that really fascinating. I find that really interesting. I think the ideas that are being presented are really kind of well presented. I think they're very well thought out. Though I am a little disappointed that we don't see more of the VR world, because maybe it's the budget constraints, because they do, this is a very low budget movie. But I do think the fact that we see all these things, we see the toxic sun, we see the Adam Bird character just starting to slowly disintegrate into just madness, is really kind of interesting, because when you look at like a movie like WALL-E or Surrogates, that is where we're heading. That really is. We're heading to a world where we don't care about the nature, we don't care about society, we care about the virtual realm, and that's what this movie is trying to portray, which is really, really fascinating. So I think James D'Arcy is quite over the top in this movie. I think he's a little cheesy. I think he's a little hammy. I think he kind of is a little too forceful in his character, but I see what they're trying to do. I see a man who's at the end of his odds, who worries about the fact that his wife doesn't really care about him anymore, and that can be a nature of problems in a lot of ways. I think the Anna Brewster character is a little mean. I really do. I think the situation that they put themselves in, where they don't really love each other anymore, and he's doing something that she doesn't like. I think the fact that she gets a restraining order it doesn't really feel right. It really doesn't. Maybe it's just the world that this world lives in. I don't know. But I think everything feels synthetic a lot of times with the characters. I think maybe that's the point of the movie, is the synthetic nature of this world. So overall, I think the movie interesting. You know, Delroy Lindo comes in as the creator of Chip, the little chip that we see in the movie, the little idea of the situation of the memory. But he doesn't really get a lot of plot structure. He's not in it for very much, so you can tell they paid him for like a couple days worth of work. It'd been very interesting to like explore what he does and what he really has done in the past. Maybe go to like a prequel type of scenario. And then on top of that, the movie kind of jumps around too sporadically and too chaotically a lot of times, to the point where you can get really confused on what's going on and what you're seeing. So sometimes you'll be in the past and then you go in the future without realizing, and then you go back in the past and go in the future. And they do try to make it a narrative situation, but it sometimes doesn't work. So, but overall, I think LX 2048 presents a lot of interesting ideas, a lot of very poignant ideas, a lot of scary ideas, and a lot of probably going to come true ideas, but I think it suffers just in the story aspect of characters that are maybe a little too goofy, a little too over the top, and there's the ending to this movie doesn't really help that at all. It doesn't really end on a conclusion that you're hoping for. So it's a movie that I think you can watch, enjoy, but just be aware that it's not the greatest sci-fi in the movie in the world. So, but yeah, that's it. That's my take on LX 2048. Thanks so much for watching this review. If you do decide to see this movie, let me know in the comments below what you think of it. It is like $10 on iTunes, so it's really not that expensive. But also tell me what you think about the ideas being presented in it. Do you agree with it? Do you not agree with it? Like I said, I felt kind of poignant. But otherwise, if you like my channel, cool, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top to find out what's coming next. If you like any of these videos, cool, hit that like button. And if you dislike them, it is what it is. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.